Hey everybody, good to talk to you again. Mitch from Hey Pops Financial here. I want to talk to you about one of my favorite subjects, passive income. Now, income is one of those things that we all need, right? We all need money to survive. We all need money to live. We all need money to be successful, right? And honestly, that income gives us a lot of freedom. But we don't want to be slaving away at our 9-to-5 job all the time. That's not where security comes from. In previous videos, we talked about budgeting and saving and kind of trying to get out of that paycheck to paycheck mentality. In this one, we're going to get more into what that looks like to have something like a passive income. What's the importance of it? What are some examples of it? So sit back, strap in, it's going to be awesome. Now, the thing about passive income that I think a lot of people can get afraid of is how complicated it might seem. And in actuality, it's really not that complicated. You don't have to have a degree in finance to be able to figure this out. All you need is a plan. You need a little bit of patience and some great advice to be able to help you get to where you want to be. Now, lucky for me, I've had somebody like Pops in my life to be able to guide me with the amount of experience that he has had, with the investments that he's had, which, oh my gosh, man, anywhere from real estate to ostrich farming. Like that guy, he's not afraid to pick something and to pursue it to see if it works out or if it doesn't. And that experience for me has just been invaluable. So we're going to get into some of the lessons that he has given me through that experience that he has had. One of my favorite authors, Robert Kiyosaki, he talks about, he wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. One of the things that he talks about is having money-making machines, right? Like you want to have as many of those as you can. And the money-making machine of your job is a machine that you have to be there hand cranking, right? You got to keep going, keep going. With all of these other ones, the passive ones, is essentially having that money-making machine that you can leave on autopilot and you check it just kind of every once in a while to make sure that it's still going so that you can focus on what you really, really want to do. Now, here's the truth. It takes effort to get started. It takes effort to get that machine built. You got to get everything together. Like I said, you kind of have to have a plan. You have to go through the ins and outs of the industry of whatever it is that you're trying to go through. You got to make some mistakes along the way, honestly. But once you get through those beginning stages, it is a whole lot easier to just kind of leave it and just check in on it every once in a while. That's the goal. Now, there's a lot of different money-making machines that you can have, different streams of passive income, but we're going to talk about a few of them here. One of those is real estate. Now, the world of real estate, I think, is very interesting and very intriguing. And I've got a lot of friends that do real estate, whether it's commercial or it's residential. There's, again, like I said, there's a lot of different places that you can go with that. Pops has been involved in a lot of different real estate deals, anywhere from kind of like duplexes, just small family homes, all the way up to multifamily rentals where we're talking about these really, really big deals. Now, whether it's a rental property or if it's investing in something called a REIT, R-E-I-T, real estate investment trust, where a lot of people can kind of put money into it, so you don't have to come up with all the money for one property. It's like a mutual fund for real estate. Real estate is one of those things that can provide that kind of constant cash flow once you're into it. Now, you got to remember that it's not always smooth sailing once you're there, once you got that property. You got to think about the tenants that you're going to have. You got to think about the maintenance, emergency costs, changes in the market. But as Pop says, if you're patient and persistent, the rewards are going to be worth it. Another way to earn passive income is through investments, and there's a lot of different things that you can do. You've got stocks, you've got dividend stocks. The dividend stocks, I think, are really cool because you get a dividend at a certain point throughout the year. A lot of different companies have different times that they do it and different intervals, you know, how often they pay those dividends out. But you essentially can own a small little piece of a company and they'll pay you a small piece of what they make throughout the year. And so once you kind of get into it, obviously the more money you have in it, the more that you're going to get back. But that's something that you can get on that kind of recurring passive basis. Now, there's also bonds, there's index funds, other investment vehicles that can generate income over time. Now, we've talked about on a previous video about private equity. There are a lot of different companies, like Hedgehog Investments is one that I really like personally. That's where I have a good chunk of my money, that offers a high return at a relatively low risk. But that's something that you have to look into, because different companies will have different risk levels. So you got to kind of do some research. You got to do some homework. One of the key elements here is that you have to reinvest the money that you're putting in. If you're building one of these machines that you want to have start generating income, you can't scrap the thing for parts for something temporary. You have to build it to the point where it is continuing to generate that income. And that does take patience. Now, here's one of my personal favorites that I really like to dig into. I love hearing all the stories from other people, are digital products and side hustles. One of my favorite podcasts is Side Hustle School by Chris Guillebeau. He also has a book that he has written as well about Side Hustle School and several other ones. But I love hearing all of the different examples that he has given for people that have different ideas on how to be successful financially. And really, there are a million different ways to make $1 million. It's absolutely incredible. One of the things I love is to see what passion somebody has, what they're good at, something that they're kind of uniquely suited to, which we've talked about in other videos about taking like a strengths assessment or really just kind of sitting with yourself and finding out what it is that you are good at, where your strengths lie, so that you can turn that into something like a side hustle or a digital product, something that you can teach to be able to market to other people. And it doesn't have to be something crazy. I mean, it can be very, very simple. Writing a blog, writing a book, setting something up like an e-commerce shop, something that you make, something that you can, flip and sell. But all of these different things are ways that you can set up this kind of more of a passive income. Some of them do require more work than others, so some of them are less passive than others. But the idea is that you want to find something that at least has a good level of that passiveness to the income that you are receiving. Now, here's one thing that Pops has really driven home to me just kind of throughout the years, something that I've seen him do, and something that's really good for me as somebody with ADHD. I don't know if you guys have picked up on that yet, but diversification. Being able to have a lot of kind of different things that you can go from. For me, it's good because I kind of, when I get bored with something, I can kind of go and jump into the other thing, and then I can go back and forth and back and forth. And I can be open to different opportunities, which is a good thing. Now, and it's good if you've got, one solid stream of income, but the magic happens when you've got a lot of different streams of income that are coming in. No matter how small that they might be, if you can generate a few $100s over here, and then you can do it 5 more times, pretty soon you're sitting in a pretty good spot to where you're getting a good amount of income. And hopefully, you can kind of quit that 9-to-5 job and really focus on what it is that you're passionate about doing. And one of the things that Pops has kind of told me is it's kind of like building a bridge. You have all of these different supports, your financial security being the bridge, and all of these different supports being those different streams of income. And the nice thing about this is the security. One of those supports goes out, you've got the other ones that you can rely on. Again, I cannot drive this home enough. One of the things that Pops has taught me is patience. This is one that I struggle with all the time. This is one of the biggest things that I constantly have to work to overcome. I have to have patience. You have to have patience when you are trying to build these passive streams of income. Try to figure out what works, try to figure out what doesn't, but don't give up. Those little failures are part of the journey. One of my favorite quotes, butchering this, I'm sure, paraphrasing here, is the fastest way forward is by failing frequently. You've got to do it over and over. You got to flex those fail muscles, if you will. But again, you got to remember, you're either learning or losing, but that's up to you which one it's going to be. It's like taking care of a garden. You got to water it, you got to take care of the ground, you got to take care of the plants, you got to do some pruning here and there, making sure this is working or that's not working. But trust me, it will pay off. And when you're getting those streams of income coming in later on down the road, you'll be happy that you put in that work before. So If you've been thinking about starting some passive income streams, my advice to you, just do it. Move forward. Take that first step. That is always the most important thing, is to just get moving. If you don't even have a plan yet, build a plan. If you don't have the money yet that you feel like you need to jump in, then come up with something that you can sell. I mean, anything to be able to get the ball rolling. One of the biggest things is to stay consistent, but also ask for help. If you've got a network of people in your life, somebody like Pops, to be able to ask like, hey, what do I do here? What do I do there? Put something in the comments if you don't have anybody like that. Ask us. We'd love to be able to help you out with whatever knowledge that we can give you. I can't tell you how many times I have called my Pops to ask him questions about what I should do or where I should go or what that next little thing is, that next step that I'm struggling with, that I can't really seem to get past. But as soon as I call him up and he's like, oh, well, have you thought about this? It's like, oh my gosh, there it is. It's invaluable to have somebody like that in your life. His wisdom has helped me keep on track, and more than anything, his caring for me has helped me when it has felt so overwhelming. Because sometimes it does. And that's the thing, having somebody like Pops in your corner makes all the difference. And whether you have somebody like Pops in your life or not, find a mentor. One of the things I talk about a lot, and we've got other videos, I've got another video, I'll put a link into this one, is about networking and why that's important. It is seriously such an invaluable thing to have somebody in your corner that can give you the experience, the guidance, the motivation to keep going. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Again, if this video has helped you, please like it, subscribe, share it with other people, put something in the comments. We would love to hear from you. I love you guys. We'll see you in the next one.